Oh, yeah, a small addendum while I was talking about Malinche and Cortez. You should know that they had a child together, uh, although Cortez basically dumped her and married a Spanish woman, and their child together, called Juan Diego, Cortez and Malinche's child, mestizo, of course, half-blood. He was sent to Spain to be educated in Spain, and later on, his younger brother, who Cortes had made his heir, also came to stay with him, which must have been a bit awkward for poor Juan Diego, who was cut out of Cortez's wealth and had to put up with his younger half brother lording it over him as sort of the fools, you know. Juan Diego later returned to Mexico, where he was made chief of police in Tenochtitlan for a while, but he was suspected of treachery by the Spanish sort of local colonial authorities, who thought that he might be siding with, he had to keep the peace. And the Spanish were, at this point, they had started to, originally, they didn't tax the people in Tenochtitlan, the center of the Mexican Empire, because they had never historically been taxed before. They had been, receiving all the tax. They were so when they started to tax them, and they put on very harsh taxes, so people had to, work long hours. When they started to tax them, there was a lot of unrest, and they suspected that Juan Diego might be on the side of these protesters because he wasn't cracking heads hard enough. So yeah, they tortured him on the rack, and Juan Diego remarkably never confessed to treachery. He maintained his innocence, that he had never worked against the Spanish, which is incredibly unusual under torture. The thing about torture is that most people just tell you whatever you want to hear right away, which is why torture is just a way of getting people to tell you what they think you want to hear. That's all it accomplishes. Certainly not a reliable way of getting information. But Juan Diego didn't crack, and eventually he was sort of dumped, his body completely ruined outside Mexico, and left to fend for himself, and that's the last we hear of him in history. Um, yeah, really a sad story. There was a statue recently put up in Mexico City of Cortez, Malinche, and their son Juan Diego as a symbol of the races coming together. And in a bit of Mexican cancel culture, this statue drew a lot of objections and has since been removed. Um, I mean, considering the history, I certainly understand.